See ya. We're just waiting on Yule to get back in, and then we're going to see if this see if the lag goes away, because it might be the latency problem. But here's hoping. Come on, Yule. What the heck?
I'm right here.
Oh, there you are. Jeez, that didn't take long at all.
Yeah, it wasn't that bad. Hey, see me this?
Was that Hertz donut? That
Hertz donut.
Spelled, yeah, that's spelled with the electrical. Mr. Hertz. Hertz. Jeez, you know, I've heard that getting electrocuted does hurt. So that would make some sense.
Yeah, yes, it would. I actually don't like it at all.
You've never been electrocuted, ding dong.
Yeah, well, I've had some voltage go through me.
Yeah, that's different.
And it was enough to make me not want to do that ever again. I mean, you know, you're a kid and you lick a 9-volt.
Do you? Yeah, no, I guess you do. Yeah, you do.
You lick a 9-volt.
You do. You do.
I can hear myself.
Is this thing working?
Is what thing working?
I get the Hangouts on air thing, but I don't get the I don't see anything about us being live.
Oh, we're live.
Can you see it? Because I can't interact with chat.
Oh, I don't know what to say. I can hear myself, though.
Okay, well, this might be a chat-free episode then.
Well, did you press?
Yeah.
Why?
Yes. Yes, I did.
Why can I hear myself on your
end? Okay, no, it's working now. I don't know what to say. I'm not a tech guru. I do not own $1 billion corporation.
Uh-huh. Okay.
And acid tabs. No. Yeah, who's talking now? Let's go to Golden Gate Park. What? Oh, we're live.
Oh. Are you sure we're live?
No, I'm positive. Actually, I'm talking to Diablo Hashcraft right now.
On what channel?
On our channel. Hey, let's just talk. Trust me, it's there.
All right, very good. But I can. All right.
Yeah, we're definitely geniuses.
I just want to lower my volume here.
Together, our IQ does not equal one genius.
No,
does it, Yule?
No.
I don't know.
But I just can hear myself over. Anyway, I can hear myself twice is the only problem.
So you have an echo. So do you have a tab open with the...
No, I do not. At least I don't think I do.
All right, I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
All right, cool. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I'm gonna wing it.
It's like we're boomers or something.
Yeah, that's the word I hear.
It's my favorite. It's my favorite term for us since Gen X.
Reboot everything. Yeah, reboot everything. Speaking of rebooting everything, maybe we should talk about some comics I read.
Oh, on this comic show that we do?
Yeah.
I don't know if that's a good idea. Your cousin might tune out.
Oh, that's right. Well, you know, we could talk about a couple of things that I don't know. Everything's comic book related going forward. I don't really have anything else.
I heard a room. Oh, no. It had to do with Amazon. What was it? I'll remember later. But anyway, go on. It was relevant somehow. I don't remember why, though. But please do continue. Tell me about what you've read this week, Yule.
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, before we do that, I mean, you should tell us a story about, like, maybe a figure that you created.
I just told you I don't remember the Amazon story. I mean,
that wasn't a story.
It would have been if I could remember what it was, but it's not
just
there.
Tell me about your stinking gnome character, okay?
All right, I'll tell you about the gnome.
All right,
look,
go for it.
This is cross-pollination. These people do not... I don't know. How many of you care about D&D? I'm guessing small numbers, right?
Well, my cousin likes it, so if she's ever here, she'll dig it.
All right, well, there's this company called Hero Forge, and in Dungeons and Dragons, typically we use these little miniatures. I have some. I don't know where they are. They're in a box because I don't use them lately. Because I don't run a game lately. Yeah, Sequential Geek knows what's up. D&D's badass. Anyway, we use these tabletop miniatures, and you can order a custom one on Hero Forge. They'll 3D print the sucker for you. And I've always wanted this one particular character of mine who's a little bald gnome that wears a headband of intellect because he was born dumb, but he turned into a marvelous wizard. Anyway, he takes that headband off and it's over. But anyway, so you can create them now, and they're extremely customizable. And so I made one. It hasn't come in the mail yet, though. I'm eagerly waiting for it. That's not a good story, Yule.
I thought it was a good story. Oh, that was a good one. How much
it'd be
does it
good
cost?
if I had the mini. It was $25 after their discount, because right now in May they're having $5 off.
It doesn't just have to be fantasy creatures, right?
No, you can do all sorts of stuff, really. There's some sci-fi looking stuff too, but I don't know where else you're going to use a fantasy miniature other than a role-playing game. So it's definitely RPG related stuff.
Right.
Oh, and they can't do elithids because apparently elithids are trademarked.
By Lovecraft?
No, I got to assume it's D&D's got the trademark. Otherwise, they wouldn't be able to use them either.
I guess that's true.
Licensing, maybe. Who knows? That looks like a baby surrounded by fake alien lingua.
Yeah. It's all right. Are you sure that your volume is off at your place?
You mean the internet? Yes, the internet does not exist on my place.
How about on your tablet?
No, the volume's completely off.
All right, very good. Yeah, that's those are magical, like incantations.
Uh-huh.
And that's a wand. I thought it was a needle or something.
They didn't even use Tolkien's fake language.
Well, it's magic. I don't know what it is. Anyway, this is a story that tells you, I don't know, this one was okay. I read it. I just wanted to share something that wasn't Marvel or DC up front.
Their font bothers me.
Yeah, the font's kind of funky. There's this whole rules for magic. Women aren't allowed to cast any spells.
Naturally.
Then there's this hierarchy in color. And then later you see this hierarchy by name. Anyway,
oh, you mean racial color? I thought you meant like purple, yellow, green. Like,
no, it is.
It is.
Yeah. This is the casting color blue. This is casting color purple.
Oh.
The overseer is casting color white. Whatever that means.
That
Let's call
so
it
blatant, isn't it?
It's Magic the Gathering.
Whatever.
And then they tap their mana and they cast their spells. Anyway, we are following the Dales, this newborn. It's kind of like the life of this guy growing up into this magic order, let's call it. And he is supposed to develop into the next Dale and take over for his father. But through his life, you see he's having a whole lot of problem doing it. But ultimately, he's able to succeed and continue through his. There's a tree. There's the hierarchy. So there's the Dales right here with my thumb.
So they're pretty much up there at the top, huh?
Yeah, they're pretty much up there at the top. So that's a big deal that the dude's son isn't able to follow in his father's footsteps. And there is definitely some family drama when it comes to that. I enjoyed it. I thought it was pretty good. There was a scene where our main character is going to go in for testing to prove his worth. And before he does that, he's getting his hair cut by his grandmother, his Gigi. And she's, giving him a fade and doing all this stuff. And she's telling him, life lessons and stuff like that. But she's using such foul language. And, you kind of think your matronly, grandmotherly types aren't so foul-mouthed. And it kind of like threw me for a little bit of a loop. It'd be like if we were right now, just because I can cuss doesn't mean, it's necessary. And it's like, it kind of, it's pretty potty mouth, there's a lot of F words and, stuff like that. It doesn't insult me, or it's harder to sell it to everybody. If, we have a pretty cool story where we're talking about a father and a son meeting expectations, all this other stuff. They're people of color. That's kind of cool. And, you just can't show it to everybody, and that's the only thing. Skybound puts this out through Image, and that's Kirkman's company, so I expect this to get a good long run if they want it to.
And it's excellent. But I gotta say, man, that the font on the cover, the font inside, like how is the lettering in the comic book actually?
It was easy to read. But
okay,
they do those little scenes where, you know, you see like a tree, the hierarchy, and they do that a few times and it gets kind of arty. So it's like, it's not all story when it, you know, it's kind of like a presentation also, but that's cool too.
Okay.
Anyhow,
And you read
excellence,
this?
number one.
Great.
Yeah, I read it. It was pretty good.
Great.
Yeah.
Will you pick up the issue
next
two?
up,
Because isn't that really the test?
Well, that is the question. I
That
don't
is
know
the
if
question.
I don't know if I want to. I screwed up the camera. Hold on a sec. Sorry, guys.
It's like being on a roller coaster.
I know. I just wanted to make it better, but of course that made it worse.
I can see we got a hand truck back there.
Yeah, we got all sorts of stuff back there. Oh, is that not right?
What? It looks fine.
Okay, cool. All right. Anyhow, let me get on the other screen. So Conan, I read number 5 just recently, and I read number 6. They are single stories that are part of a whole. So you can read one of these and not have to worry about it. But basically, we're seeing stories about Conan early in life. And at the end, we are seeing one of his first adventures come to play a role in his later life when he's king. Does that make sense?
I didn't follow it, but I figured it must have, and I just wasn't.
It might have made sense. Basically, we're seeing young Conan do these things, and by the end of the story, it continues his life as he's king. Anyway, the story starts off, and look at Conan. He's all bloody. He's killed all these fools, and he gets rolled up on by these dudes here. And they're like, what's going on? And he tells the story about how he was with these guys, and you know, he was fighting with them, but they were stupid, and the generals were dumb as F or AF, sorry. And each time they want to do something, he tells them like, hey, you know, this isn't the way to go. And of course, they get ruined and killed. So he goes and he starts hanging out with the guy who just, you know, was interrogating him. And the story goes on. It's cool. It's a good Conan story. There's a lot of blood. There's a lot of fighting. He's cool in it. And it's a, you know, it was a good issue. Not my favorite necessarily as far as like anything deep going on, but it continues the story about the old witch and the 2 little kids that are trailing him all his life, basically, or at least through these adventures that we're seeing. So there's a real cool, creepy factor, and we got to see how old Conan gets out, and if anything he learns as young Conan, maybe it will make a difference in that story.
I like the
Conan.
I like the notion a lot of him learning and taking things into the future. I think that would be very interesting if done well.
Yeah, I might be reading a little too much in that, but if that happens, that would be cool.
It would be cool. Can I see him covered in blood again, please?
Yeah, sure. Let me I don't know where the hell it is. There it is. There you go.
Yeah, his haircut I can't ever get behind. Just so damn stupid. It's like Iron Maiden, man.
he doesn't need a metal coif on his head.
No, but if he was really truly dedicated to having a utilitarian haircut, he would just not have any hair. He'd shave it off.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
Can't be grabbed, can't be used against you, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
No lice? What if Conan was brought low, ye old faithful by lice? Uh-huh. Ew is right. Exactly.
That might be how he goes. Maybe he gets the gout.
Maybe that will be the subject of Jungle Comics.
Dude, all
Maybe
right, so Jungle Comics
or ticks.
I want you guys to know that this is the funniest comic I've ever read. All right, maybe not the funniest, but I really, really enjoyed it a lot.
Did you laugh with it or laugh at it?
Oh, no. It was meant to be funny.
Okay.
I can't imagine how it wasn't. Basically, we are being told the legend of this guy named Conga. And here you see the roar of his name,
He just
Conga.
he cut the head off of an alligator with a dagger.
Yeah. He's messing this alligator up. The story, it starts. He's just showing how badass he is. He gets out, just talking about Conga, and he talks to these dudes, and they're like, "Wouldn't it be better if we just got some guns?" And he's all, "Dude, trust me, white men's machinery is just gonna screw stuff up. Just trust me." And then as he's like walking away, the tribes people are like, "Do we have to follow this fool? What happened that made it so?" He's all, "He defeated our guy, so we have to follow him." And it's basically just a Tarzan story, and Tarzan's not loved by everybody. Here's his Jane, and she's like, "Oh man, you're bringing an alligator back. What am I going to do with this?" She's all, "I just want to go to a real civilization, have a real hot shower." And he's just like, "I got to do this. I got to do this." And
I
it's
accidentally took over this tribe. I have to rule them now.
Well, yeah, and he talked to this monkey, and it's got some funny stuff. They're like, "I can't understand this monkey at all. How can he talk to it? Why are we following him? He's crazy." But basically the story is he has to go in and save this village that's been like just torn up. And the action good, and I don't want to page too far ahead. There's an ending that I did not see coming. I'm really looking forward to the second issue. Like I said, it was really funny. The art was excellent. I don't know what they're going to do going forward, but I'm definitely down for issue 2.
It looks to me like he's trying to chase down that lion to do something untoward with it.
Yeah, well, so I'm going to show you what he's fighting up against.
Please tell me it's Cthulhu.
No, it's like raptors or something like that.
Oh, dinosaurs? I'm out.
Yeah, no. Trust me, it's not a big deal. Trust me. So it's like kind of reminiscent of Tarzan. It's reminiscent of Khazar. If you just dig like jungle comics and guys and chicks in loincloths, this is a pretty fun book.
Chicks in loincloths, huh?
Well, they bikinis. How's that?
There we go. Leopard print bikinis.
Yeah, leopard print all the way.
I don't hate it.
All right, so next up we have Batman and the Outsiders #1.
Is that Lady Rye? How did they steal her from?
That's Katana.
They stole.
Rye doesn't have ownership over Japan's flag.
Oh, that's what that is. I thought it was a laser sight about to take her out.
This sword here, it like houses the spirit of her dead husband.
Interesting.
And this is Duke. This guy in yellow.
Yeah, I've met him before.
And I don't know who this is supposed to be. I forget. I think it's like the spoiler or something like that.
Does he make meat go bad?
I think it's a woman.
Does she make meat go bad? Is that her?
She does make meat go bad. That's exactly what she does. And then we have Black Lightning right here.
Yeah.
And then Batman.
And then Batman.
So one of the reasons I wanted to talk about this is that the creator of Black Lightning, Tony Isabella, got really, really upset on Twitter about the treatment of Black Lightning in this comic book.
In this comic book.
And I think it was in this comic book because I just couldn't understand. He had a lot of lines. He's basically running the team. Batman is a person he doesn't necessarily trust, but he's trying to get this team to trust him. And overall, it's just like an adventure book. They set up the team, they put out the story, and I don't understand where Tony Isabella, and let me tell you, Tony Isabella, this guy, when I was a kid and I was all hung up on racism in comic books, because, that's what you do when you're a kid. You're like, I can't believe that this guy was involved in making this like super stereotypical racist Black Lightning kind of, pastiche of a superhero character. It's something that I probably said about Luke Cage also, because, Luke Cage would be like Sweet Christmas and say other things that were like Jive Turkey and all this other stuff. And for a fact that it's some guy, and into like, blasting white people. It's just kind of, that kind of gets old, but I understand it's something people do. It's cool. Fine. It's not something I'm not necessarily doing, but definitely when I was younger, it's something I definitely pointed out and it was like, this is ridiculous that this stuff was made. But as I got older, I realized, these were the characters that people got into. And as we are getting more inclusive in like, writers that are working within the industry, those voices can, anyway, you know what I mean? All that stuff. Anyway, I really think, and that's basically what's going on here. We have Brian Hill, who's a black man, and he's become pretty well respected within DC, and he's done Image Comics. He worked on Killmonger for Marvel. He did Wildstorm. He did that Michael Cray miniseries that we talked about before. So he's totally got a lot of work under his belt. He's worked on Titans, the TV series for the DC streaming service. He's like a really accomplished writer. And I don't really think there was anything in here to really suggest that there was like anything, like the character was really represented well. And Brian Hill would get on Twitter later on and he was like, don't blast Tony Isabella. He's like really a stand-up guy. And he's like, don't go and blast Tony Isabella. He has his right, to his opinion and everything. But Brian Hill, man, he's like, my duty is to write about Duke. It's to write about Black Lightning. It's to write about Katana and give all these characters voices. And I think he did a really good job on this. So just for that alone, I'm recommending that book. Dexter Soy, he's been a little bit maligned in this store. He did, when Captain Marvel started up years ago with Kelly Sue DeConnick writing, he was the artist. And he did this kind of like, I don't know, his art style was really muddy and it just didn't flow well with the book. And this is excellent. I like this stuff. It's good action. This is a good comic book. There you go.
Nice.
And now everything I have is stuff that's coming out tomorrow.
By the way, let me just say that was a surprising review. Like I was expecting it to go far in a different direction than it did.
How so?
Don't worry about it.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I could have gone like deeper into some of the stuff.
No, it was good. I was interested.
So we've got Uncanny X-Men coming out tomorrow. This is Matthew Rosenberg. Recently, I finally warmed up to him. Was it because of the cover? He doesn't do the art on the cover.
I know.
No, I think he's been doing a pretty good job. And then the last couple issues after the major story arc that occurred to start off his run, they've been kind of standalone-y, and you get a little bit more characterization than just like, kind of like moving from scene to scene and fighting and stuff like that.
Hey,
so those have been good.
Standalone.
Yep. Standalone.
You said like standalone, and it made me think bologna, like a bologna sandwich.
Well,
Would you like a standalone sandwich with that, sir?
So a standalone story is a lot like bologna. There's a lot of sustenance you get from it, but you don't always love it. Things happen. You're gonna possibly regret something, kind of like the last issue. But
wait, what are we regretting?
Well, I'm sorry, what was that?
What are we regretting?
I'm just joking. Rain Sinclair Wolfsbane died in the last issue, if I remember correctly.
I don't know anything about what you're talking about. Please continue.
She was beaten up callously by people that...
Wait, this was last week, wasn't it?
This was like 2 weeks ago, I think.
You were talking about it last week's show, though.
I might have.
Because old Wolverine went and took somebody to like Snoop Dogg out his victim and then killed a bunch of people. Is that what happened?
Yeah. He didn't kill him, but yeah, he wanted to.
This is every other week nonsense we're talking about.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Oh, okay. So if you're counting at home, we had 10 issues weekly to start off this Uncanny X-Men run. And then the very next week we had an annual for something that lasted 10 weeks, that's been out 10 weeks. Then we had issue 11 come out. And then we've had bi-weekly, we've had an issue come out. So every 2 weeks there's been another issue. So we are going to be within 25. We're going to have 25 issues of this run. And I think that may be the last issue of this run because just announced today. So before I get to that, I am looking forward to reading this. It's got characters we all love, Mystique and Emma Frost, it looks like. These are some classic villainesses that a lot of people enjoy in the Uncanny X-Men fandom.
Why do
I
they
am one of
enjoy
them.
them?
Well, they're pretty badass.
They don't look particularly friendly.
No, they're not at all. Well, so I don't know what's up with her getup, but usually if this is Emma Frost, she's usually wearing white. She was the White Queen of the Hellfire Club. I'm not exactly sure what's going on right now, but we've got Mystique over there. She's a shape-changing mutant also. Emma Frost can turn to Diamond, or she can use her psionic powers, I guess it is. Telekinesis. Whatever. I'm using the wrong one. Anyway, oh look, Juggernaut's in it. X-Men's great. I'm really sad that this title is going to be ending because why did we even start one to begin with? It just felt like, they could have just not done it, or I don't know. It's very upsetting that this is going to be canceled. I feel like I've invested a lot of time. I feel a lot of people were asked to invest a lot of time in this series, and it's all for naught because we're going to be getting the Jonathan Hickman X-Men miniseries that's coming out real soon.
Hey, Yule.
Yeah.
Mutant Menace thinks that you should read X-Men Black, Emma Frost.
I know I have to. Is she a Black Queen now? Is that what
I
that
assume there's some answers to questions that you've been posing.
Mm-hmm.
No big deal. Ignorance is cool. It looks good on you.
Oh, thank you very much.
It looks good on everybody. I'm just saying.
Well, I have no problem admitting it. I do not. I mean, yeah, I probably should have. The Mutant Menace gets to read all the X-Men and doesn't have to read Superman and crap like that.
Wait, what do you mean he gets to?
Well, Mutant Menace gets to enjoy his comic books where a lot of time I have to read, Batman and the Outsiders when I might not have. Or, I mean, actually, everything I talked about today is something I wanted to read. But, there's been other times. I mean, I probably wouldn't have read Excellence if I wasn't, wanting to review something that's a little different than Marvel and DC. Or maybe, Jeff Lemire stuff. Anyway, Jeff. So we got Jonathan Hickman. He's going to be doing 2. All right. So again, they asked us to invest a lot of time and energy. Not only that, after those 10 issues, we've had the Age of X-Man that's been going on. And those are 5-issue miniseries that are going on. And a lot of people have been enjoying them. But one of the things that a lot of people, I would assume, have been thinking is this really going to matter in the end? They're just going to race to the end so that they can come back to our world and be like they were before. Maybe some of the things will stick and maybe some of those things will be, examined. But again, this is getting canceled. Those miniseries are ending. Jonathan Hickman is introducing us to House of X, and then he's introducing us to Power of X. And it's going to be 2 different X-Men miniseries that are going to coming out. And as a result, today they said that all the X-Men titles are going to be canceled. So I assume that means Mr. and Mrs. X, which has been doing pretty good here. I assume that means X-Force, which has been doing pretty well, and a lot of people have been enjoying it. I don't know if Domino figures into that, but it's a miniseries anyway. Wolverine has only had miniseries, but there's been other things that have been going on, and it's kind of like, again, I've been investing all this time. Am I only just supposed to hop from one thing to the next when you tell me to?
Yeah, it's a sign. It's a sign of your non-plasticine mind is a sign of greater age and less wisdom.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I don't know. It's frustrating. It's just you kind of want to. Sometimes you want to know that what you're reading matters later on down the line. I mean, that's what's different between comic books and any other. almost any other medium. I mean, television is a lot of, it's episodic, I mean, it's not like if you're watching like a sitcom, it's just each issue
It was.
or
It's
episode.
moving. It's a moving away from episodic, and it's moving to. I mean, people like stuff like the Game of Thrones and the Sopranos. They like those longer storylines. You probably could even get away with including that kind of an overarching long storyline in a sitcom quite easily. I mean, it's just a technique for writing, and people love it.
Yeah. Well, in comic books, you have 20 or 30 years potentially of things that have happened beforehand.
Maybe they're 20 or 30 years behind.
Well, yeah. When you ignore things that have gone on, all right. So one of the things in X-Men that's always like a big bummer is that Cyclops is I know it's lame for anybody that doesn't care, it's not a big deal. But Cyclops, anytime he shoots his beam, his optic blast, it's a concussive force. I know I've had people from colleges, like Harvey Mudd and stuff like that. They were like, you can't, lasers don't have a concussive force. Whatever that means.
They would if they were vaporizing rock.
Yeah, sure, why not? But he doesn't. Those are not fire. You know what I mean? They do not burn. They punch you hard. They do not burn your clothes. And
it is odd that it's his eyeball that does it.
Yeah. Well, hey. So these X-Men miniseries are starting up, and even though I have just bitched about not being able to trust these guys going forward, that anything that they're going to do here is going to matter 10 years from now, 10 years from now, 10 months from now, 2 years from now, but Jonathan Hickman, the thing that he's really good at is telling long form stories in comic books that usually last a couple years, or at least the output that he puts is probably a couple years worth of comic books. Like when he did Fantastic Four, he split that up and did FF for a while, and then they were both books at the same time. He did Avengers and New Avengers at the same time. Meanwhile, he had like miniseries going on. So we have a bi-weekly miniseries that's going to come out every 2 weeks. But I like Jonathan Hickman a lot. I like him a lot, and I recommend everybody pick this up. Because if Marvel can't do it with this one, they're never going to be able to do it. They're never going to be able to do it. So I recommend checking this one out. Then you're going to have Powers of X. I know Mutant Menace is going to be all over this.
Well, let's ask him. He's in chat.
Well, I can't see it at the same time. So there you go. R.B. Silva is artist. We've got Perez, I think, is the other artist. Oh, Pepe Larraz. Those are good people. It's a shame that Rosenberg is gonna, and they're gonna like end that on the 25th issue. X-Men rate a 25th issue. It's not earned. It's gonna be what, $7 or $8?
Tell me about that number 1000 that they're pumping out real quick. Hold on.
And Marvel's gonna do a comic called 1000. It's gonna have artists and writers that are gonna work on one page throughout that book. I don't know how many pages it's supposed to be, but it's just like, they see DC 2 years in a row. They had a 1000th issue of Action. And then this year they had a 1000th issue of Detective. So, Marvel's going to be a little silly and do something like that.
Unearned. It's not even funny. You know what I mean? It's not even humorous.
I don't find humor in it.
It feels duplicitous.
Yeah. But, Marvel Zombies, right? Oh, speaking of War of the Realms, this is all Marvel, I think, basically. Sorry, guys. War of the Realms, it comes out tomorrow. I've been selling this really well. Oh, yeah, I have a top 5 list also, by the way.
This is number 4? You said the first 3 were selling well?
I sold out of all of them.
Wow, good.
And
were you doing
that
Were you doing that thing where you progressively lower your order?
Not on this one.
Oh, good.
This one has stayed the same. I've kept them, but they have all been reorderable, and there have been second prints for those that weren't. So I have had I've had War of the Realms in stock for the most part. Now the side stories, I've lowered my numbers quite. I shouldn't say I lowered my numbers. I don't get near as many of those as I do the main title, and they have been selling very well also. And I'm going to show you another one of those in a second.
All right.
But for those of you that don't know, Thor came back at the end of last issue. I know. But this is every 2 weeks. This is coming out, so you got to keep up. So great art as always by Russell Dodderman. I'm really looking forward to this. Ooh, Frank Castle. I don't need to tell anybody anymore about this. This is really good. I've been enjoying this series quite a bit, and I'm looking forward to the end. But tomorrow, we're going to get War of the Realms, Spider-Man, and the League of Realms. So this is basically an issue, I think, 14 or something of Jason Aaron's Thor series that he did when he started this whole mess. There was a League of Realms that got together to fight against Malekith, and these are those guys. And that's like a golden elf in there, and we obviously have Spider-Man. So I assume this is going to be a New York bound, since I think they're going to be fighting the frost giants that are there.
I'm sorry. What is the golden elf? And
the golden elf shoots a gun also, and look at that.
This is a character, not a race of people.
I think he is. They're like light elves or something like that. Yeah, he's funny. I can't remember what his name is, but
who's drawing this one?
This is done by Nico Leone.
Is that cover included?
I don't know. I don't think the cover is.
Who did the cover?
Don't ask me that.
Man,
the art's good inside. I'll tell you in a second.
The art's good on the cover too.
The art's good inside. It's a little sparse on the backgrounds, but that's not that big a deal.
Got to start somewhere.
Deal breaker. Yeah, but Nico Leone's done really good stuff for backup stories in Ms. Marvel, and also backup stories for, well, I should say fill-in issues for Ms. Marvel, and fill-in issues for Miles Morales Spider-Man in the past. So that cover artist was Ken Lashley. Ken Lashley, pretty good.
Yeah.
Do you know what Ken Lashley's big book that he did was?
No, I do not.
Rising Stars, I think is what it was called. With J. Michael Straczynski doing
that's quite old though, isn't it?
Yeah, it is quite old. Ken Lashley wasn't good then. He's a lot better now.
You do anything long enough, you can get good at it.
All right. Well, I don't think I want to draw. You do.
I think it's 10,000 hours. You're considered an expert, right?
All right. Excellent. Well, we got a lot more podcasting to do. Or, podcasting.
Yeah, that's so true.
This is all just practice. So this was not because of our getting comic books late last week. We were shipped late number 9, which came in last week, of Black Badge. And I didn't talk about it, but number 10 comes out this week. And y'all know I love this. Matt Kent writes it. Tyler Jenkins does the art. It's a story about a scout troop that runs government missions. It's really cool. You should check this out.
Oh, man. 2 in a row.
Matt Kent's good buddy Jeff Lemire is the writer of Gideon Falls. Andrea Sorrentino is the artist of this book. I really like it. It's a horror story about a black barn that feels very Twin Peaksy. Yeah,
there's a profile on the cover. Am I right?
Is that a profile?
I think so. You got to say something, man.
I'm sorry. I don't know if that's a profile. I guess it could be. I don't know. Anyway, Gideon Falls is really good. If anybody hasn't been reading it, you should pick up the collections. If you are a fan of Twin Peaks or horror, or just like really good artwork that tells a really fun story and puts a lot of pieces to, it's like puzzle pieces a lot of times, kind of like this cover.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So yeah, Gideon Falls is excellent. I know that's kind of a lame review, but I can't really tell you too much about it because the mystery that is in it just keeps unraveling each issue, and it's been really good. I like it. And then last but not least, we have Little Bird #3.
Wow, that seems kind of already to me. Is this
No, it does
not a
seem like
monthly book, is it?
yeah, that's been monthly. I think we've been on a monthly schedule.
Maybe you were a little bit late in reviewing the first one or something, because it
That
seems like
could
we've
possibly.
talked about Little Bird 3 times in a row now.
Well, that I don't think that's true, but it might be. Little Bird is excellent. I really liked it a lot. I haven't read this issue, obviously.
That is a trippy cover.
Yeah, I just enjoy. I mean, if I was just judging this on artwork alone, this is like an A book without a doubt. And it's really nice to read something that you know is going to be finite. This is a 5-issue miniseries. And it's wonderful that it's been coming out as frequently as it is. And I really enjoy it. there's the bad guys are basically like this the religious order. And we're following Little Bird, who at the end of the first issue died, but then came back. There's a whole thing about that. This guy, I think they call him the Axe, and she had to rescue him from prison in that first issue. And he's helping her, and she wants to, save everybody. It's been really good. I like it. It's also set in like Canada and like a post-apocalyptic kind of future. Kind of science fiction-y, kind of fantasy, but all good.
Sounds good.
Yeah, I like it a lot. This is a fun book. So Little Bird, Gideon Falls, Black Badge. Wow, those are 3 really, really good books right in a row.
Yeah,
and we got some
superhero book.
Yeah, I forgot that these were going to be here. I get worried that I'm talking about mainstream stuff too much. And man, I love Black Badge. That's my favorite. That's one of my favorites that's coming out, without a doubt.
It's great premise for sure.
Mm-hmm. It's really easy, and it's not overthunk or anything like that.
Right.
So they do a really good job on it.
You ever I know I've asked you this before, but like, where is Matt Kent right now?
What do you mean, where is he?
What are you doing? Picking your nose?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. Like Matt Kent, like what's he up to besides doing that book?
Well, he's also doing the art on Black Hammer 1945.
Okay.
He also, there's a Indiegogo called Airboy, and it's like billed as the first Airboy in like 30 years or something like that. And Matt Kent is doing one of the covers, and that sold me on it. Hi, everybody.
So, hey, buddy, what's up?
Yeah.
So, when you say Airboy, is this like including Zeppelins and like stuff like that?
I gotta admit, I never really read Airboy.
I didn't either, because it didn't appeal to me just from the marketing for it at the time.
It's just, I think it's like adventure, kind of like an adventure comic, and he's not really a superhero or anything like that. Okay. Coincidentally, Matt Kent did the cover that did not have a gun on it, and I was very pleased to get that.
Oh yeah, good call. You know, we've never done your anti-gun rant.
We'll do it when we got lots of gun lovers in the room.
We'll make a special.
Is everybody a gun lover in the room?
I love them, but I don't really need them in my life.
Yeah.
Video games, man, they really are fun, but
yeah, that stuff's fine. I mean, maybe it's possibly because I'm just not good at those games, or like target practice isn't like my type of thing.
Target practice is boring.
I don't know. Just none of that really appealed to me. I was never a cops and robber kind of guy.
What kind of guy were you growing up?
I just like reading superhero books.
That was it, huh?
Yeah. Ooh, a Glock 19. I wouldn't know. What are like the first 18 like?
German? I love the
Yeah,
Germans. I
that's
really
how
do.
much I know.
It doesn't matter. Oh wait, I don't need to do this. Hold on. Stop that nonsense. So that's what's coming out tomorrow. Those are the books that you've read. I'm gonna relax a little bit. My shoulder's killing me. And and what? The future looks bright.
Yeah, I mean, well, geez, just the fact that comic books are coming out tomorrow.
They're
I'm very
actually
happy.
showing up
It's a load off
on
with
time and
yeah, I even took the pictures so I can do the social media tomorrow. Let people know what's on the racks. If you don't follow Fantastic Comics on Twitter, you should. You can see like how we arrange stuff. There were 60 comics that came out this week, so it's not like a whole lot. So I was actually able to put the entirety of the Captain America storyline and Captain America and also the Daredevil storyline that's been going on. I have like all the issues out on the new rack. It's kind of cool.
that is cool.
And I don't know. I know there's customers that are like me. When you see all of them right there, you're like, it's not even something I really care about. But they're all there at them,
Yeah, no, I get that completely.
We're freaking suckers. That's why.
Well, when you know it's all there, it means you can read it all at once. Right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of the beauty of the whole thing. I don't know. When I used to go to comic book stores looking for new material to read, if there was more than one issue, you could at least test it out and be like, hey, I have more than one issue's worth of information now.
Yeah.
That's a selling point to me.
Hey, also, I wanted to let you know that there's a couple books that are coming out tomorrow.
Who, me?
Yeah, you. These
Oh.
are ones you have to know that are coming out. Okay?
These are books or comic books?
Graphic novels.
All right, go on, shoot.
So that's a hardcover. I don't know if you can hear that.
It sounds tinny, but all right.
All right, well, whatever. So there's a hardcover coming out of Batman White Knight.
Yeah, that's nice looking.
Inexplicably, they put out softcover first. Whatever. So there you go. And it's a black label, whereas before it was not a black label.
It's also got color on the cover, which seems a little odd, but all right.
Yeah, whatever. Yeah, you're right. Also, I don't know if this is black label. Mr. Miracle. Another hardcover.
How much is that?
This one is $35.
That's a steal.
Both books were billed as not being available in any other store other than comic book stores.
Why do I get the feeling that that's a temporary exclusive?
I don't know. Well, they might not remain in hardcover. There's a reissue of Ronin coming out. This also, I think, may be a black label comic book, even though it came out, 30 years ago.
That's what I was about to ask you. Do people care about Ronin anymore? Do people care about Frank Miller anymore?
Man, Frank Miller said some really kind of crazy things after 9/11. And then he did that Holy Terror comic book, which was supposed to originally be Batman versus Al Qaeda. And then I was like, but that was announced 2003 or something like that. And I don't know. I was pretty amazed that DC would do that. And then they finally said no. And so he basically took that Batman story and just made a book called Holy Terror. So a lot of people are upset with him, but here he's doing his best work probably ever. And it's also, it's like a part sci-fi, it's part like kind of fantasy. He's got a style that he's working with that's very reminiscent to Mobius. And the story is about New York in the far future. Well, actually, it's about a Ronin who loses his master and has to defend his honor by killing this demon. And in doing so, he had to kill an innocent with his blade to make that happen. So basically, he kills himself at the same time. But in doing so, that demon's like, I'm going to curse you, and we're going to relive this again. And they do in the far future. And Ronin is like in the body of like an armless and legless kid who can control like machinery. Anyway, it's really cool. I recommend Ronin if you haven't read it.
That does sound very cool.
I know that's a lot of stuff to pay attention to, but that first issue where you know our hero, where he stabs himself, you know, commits Harry, kills the demon at the same time, but that is so awesome. But when the demon is reborn in New York in the far future, and he's like, "This is a disgusting cesspool," and he's all, "I'm gonna like it here." Great stuff.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
Ronin.
Nice.
So that's definitely
earlier that New York was not a good place to live, and I guess that holds true in the far future too.
Yeah, exactly. In New York, you know.
I like New York, man. That is a city.
Any more than that? No.
Better than LA.
So last, I also have this book right here. What is that? MCMLXXV, which is 1975, which is the year this is set. And it follows this cabbie who's really good at killing demons and stuff. She's kind of like versed in the way of the cabbie, and it's this kind of like a kung fu style thing. Anyway, she picks up fares and fights demons all at the same time.
Is she doing this in New York?
Yeah, it's in New York. You know, demons in New York in the future, demons in New York in the past. She kills them with the magic crowbar. It's sweet, and it's written by Joe Casey, and Ian McEwan does the art. Good stuff.
It's real reminiscent of that magical glowing baseball bat for a mage.
I love Mage.
Do you remember that was one of the last episodes we did of the old style of videos, included that 1975?
Oh yeah, definitely.
It was pretty far along in that run.
Well, there was only 3 issues total.
No. I mean in our run.
Oh yeah, in our run, definitely. Go back and watch them.
No, that's all right.
Dude, Mage is the best, without a doubt. We have all the trades here, but I recommend it. When I was a kid in the 80s, and you know, even when you're a kid, you realize that you want to read something that may be a little bit different than mainstream comic books. We had First Comics, Comico Comics, Pacific Comics, and a lot of the people that did those comics were people that worked mainstream at one time. So like Mike Grell did Star Slayer before he did Warlord and Legion of Superheroes for DC. And then, you know, there were some other people that, Sergio Aragonés is, he always did stuff for like Mad, but here's where he started to do Gru. And at Comico, Matt Wagner was somebody who was basically an unknown. He's like this Canadian, and he did Mage. And the first issue we bought, it blew my mind. It was one of the best comics ever. Still is one of my favorite first issues to read. The two first issues that I love reading almost more than anything is Mage #1 and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles from back in the day. That first issue is just some of the best. Oh, and Tick, actually, #1 from, I guess it's just because of when I was a kid, but those are my favorite first issues to definitely read.
The Tick is hilarious.
Yeah, I went to, God, what was it? I can't remember. It was in Azusa. This is a town that I didn't live in at the time. And I went to I think it was called California Comics. I can't remember. Anyway, I went there and I bought the Tick, came home, read it, giggled a lot. And I went back to that comic store and got like 2 more copies.
Well, didn't you have to? Because your brothers read and destroyed it?
No, I had to get it, and they sold them anyway at the later on in my life.
Oh,
when you leave home and you leave your comic books behind.
You had multiples of the first issue?
I did, and they were in nice condition too.
Oof.
I had all of them.
Nice.
Yeah, it was good.
Oh, funny. That's too bad. You ever sell anything or let go of anything else that you've regretted letting go of?
Yeah, all the time.
Like what?
I need to see that again.
Yeah, that's when poverty gets you, huh?
Yeah, well, there was a time when I was living out in Riverside, and I just couldn't get a job during the Gulf War, and that was the first one, and like nobody was hiring, even though I was debasing myself at McDonald's and shit like that. I just couldn't. I mean, maybe they just knew. Anyway, I had some.
One look at you and they knew. They knew.
I need a
McDonald's
job. I got to keep this girlfriend. I need this job. Anyway, I had the death of Gwen Stacy and the death of Green Goblin, Amazing Spider-Mans, and they were in pretty good condition. And I sold those for a couple bucks. They're worth a lot more now, but it's kind of stuff that happens. My dad had so when I was younger, the way we would buy comic books were like this. If it was something that we were collecting for value, for future value, we would buy 5. One was for reading, which was basically for me to read. There was one for me for the future, one for my 2 brothers, so 3 there plus the reading copy, and then one for mom and dad, basically. So 5. That's what we'd buy. But if it was a first issue, we'd get a ton of those. And I mean, everybody has a story like that. I think Tyler had his father bought like a crap ton of ROM number 1s, or maybe it was US 1, which is worse. Like ROM would be great. US 1, which is about a trucker who gets like actually it sounds pretty good, but it's not. He's like a trucker, because everybody wants to read a comic book about a trucker. And he gets like alien cybernetic implants, and I don't know what he does.
Does he get them in his butt?
Yeah, yeah, that's exactly where. The only thing cool about US 1 was the Bill Sienkiewicz covers. Those were the only thing that was cool about that character. Oh, what a dog. What a dog.
Do you remember Smokey and the Bandit?
Yeah, sure.
That was an era when trucking was cool.
Dude, BJ and the Bear. Remember that?
No, I don't.
BJ and the Bear, Greg Evigan. Man. Then it was BJ and the Bear and the 7 Lady Truckers.
Oh, geez. That makes a lot of sense, though. I get it.
Yeah.
Wait, 7 Lady Truckers.
7 Lady Truckers, man.
I mean, I get it, but it's a little backwards. But all right, whatever.
So are you ready?
What?
Are you reading any of the chat?
Oh, I have been kind of off and on.
Oh, you are the worst at that.
Why? What happened? If they really want our attention, they're supposed to do the at Fantastic Comics. Everybody knows that.
Okay, very good. All right, very good.
Have you guys been trying to get? No. They're fine. They don't need supervision. They're all adults.
All right, that's great.
I don't know. If you guys aren't adults, don't hate. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, there you go.
That's
Comic
it.
books.
Comic books.
Oh wait, he wants me to eat something in front of you guys.
That's what that was about. Mukbang with Yule Carter.
Mukbang. Yeah. Dude, all right, so this is Eugene, right? Hey, anybody can you guys see Eugene?
No.
Come here, Eugene. Get in here. All right, so this is the person that exists. I want you to see that. C-Dub. All right. He asked me what I wanted from Trader Joe's, right?
And you said cola potato chips, naturally.
I said lemonade, right? He brings back limeade.
It's citrus.
There you go.
I heard that. That's a pretty defeatist attitude there.
Anyway, he wants me to eat this for you, so you can see my sensuously. Give me a chip. Come on, man.
Let's see, man. I want to see what these cola potato chips look like.
Yeah, I'm sure. Really. Well, I mean, anything can look like a chip, right?
They should be dark, though.
Ew. Yeah, he just so yeah, they're just a normal chip. Yeah, they're sweet. Yeah, it's not good.
Eugene, you try one.
No, that's not good at all. Don't do it. It's not.
Do it, Eugene. You bought a whole bag.
Oh my god.
They grow on you after about 2 seconds, don't they?
This tastes exactly like cola.
Does it really?
Without, like, you know those gummy cola candies?
Yeah.
That's what it tastes like, but in potato chip form.
It's kind of disturbing.
It's a weird mix because you don't expect cola in a.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't do it sensuously.
Do try again, Yule. I mean,
no, I can't do that again. I'm sorry, guys.
You know what it says on the cover?
What?
In Korean, it says weird potato chip.
Yeah. What do they call a cola nut in what'd you say is Korean?
Yeah, it's no. This top part it's in English and it says cola potato chips.
That's what I'm getting at.
But the main title is just weird potato chip.
So do they call it Coca weird?
No, it's weird because whatever this flavor is, it's weird. They're just telling you straight up.
Straight up. I wonder who their marketing people are.
I don't know. It's like it's not good.
Man, you're a terrible food reviewer. You know that?
Well, I mean, I could get into like the texture and how it's airy and it crisp fine, but it also kind of gets stuck in my teeth more than a regular potato chip. Also,
would it be better as pork rinds?
I stop. I don't know. That doesn't sound good either.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Pork rinds? Cola flavored pork rinds? That is what the world has been waiting for.
Well, I'll tell everybody that we're gonna have these here at the store tomorrow. So anybody that wants to try them is welcome. If you're willing to get videoed, we'll put you on our Instagram account. You can follow us at Fantastic Comics.
You can enjoy weird potato chips.
They're not that bad, honestly.
Sweet pastry that are dank. That doesn't sound good.
Wait, no, you said sweet pastry? I'm in. What's up?
I just got these egg yolk sweet pastry things that are dank. It better have dank in them. You know what I mean?
Well, I mean, I don't eat anything that doesn't anymore. Hey, so speaking of, there's this question I've got for you, Yule. Have you ever noticed that certain foods that you eat maybe alter your uptake of certain substances that you also partake in?
Well, if you mean like what, chips that have MSG in them or something like that?
No, let's cut this stream and then we can talk in earnest, right?
Yeah, sure.
All right.
I don't know. No, I haven't ever really experienced anything like that. There's like there's kind of like eating afterwards, kind of killing it. You know, your buzz a bit. I've had that, but I haven't had like foods that make me want to, maybe like peanuts and beer. Like I no, not really.
All right. The reason I ask is because those gummies that I really like, they're not abnormal in any way. They're just gummies, right?
Sure.
But if I take one around the same time as I eat a relatively high fat food, it hits me almost instantly.
Okay.
Instead of an hour to 2 hours later.
Right.
Like within 5 or 7 minutes active.
And you said what kind of food?
Hold on. Somebody's saying, you're welcome. I don't know what I'd. Oh, yeah. I get it.
Ew, the bug protein movement.
Bug protein.
Dude, I saw one of those cooking shows, and one of the first people to get bounced was a guy that like used insects in his cooking. I mean, it's whatever, but
he was asking for it. You know what I mean? He was asking for it. You're supposed to be stuff invisible, or it's got to be in a novelty snack.
Right, exactly.
Like I want that tequila flavored lollipop with a scorpion inside or whatever, or I don't want to realize that the protein added to my milkshake is made from cockroaches.
Ew.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of stuff like that, actually. Vitamin C comes from a bacteria. I think we get vitamin C from a bacteria. We don't get it from oranges and stuff.
Yeah, I guess, given the proper, the right circumstance, I'll probably eat bugs.
Dude, come on.
There's some
You've
that are
already eaten bugs, just to be clear, okay? There are bugs in processed food everywhere. There's an amount that they're allowed to have, and they don't say a word about it. And you've eaten it. And you've eaten spiders in your sleep over the course of your life.
I don't know if that's totally true, but I've heard that.
I bet you have, man. I bet you have. And you probably enjoyed it. You're like,
no way. I woke up and spit. I guarantee it.
Black Widow.
Got like a little esophagus.
Have you ever woken up knowing that you've swallowed something weird?
No.
I have.
No, I usually wake up, searching for that quarter that I was reaching for.
Interesting.
What was that?
Was that for a tip? Are you going to the coffee shop?
No, I was probably trying to buy ice cream because I was a fat kid and I was having a summer of ice cream.
Oh, that sounds so nice.
A summer of ice cream and sitting and watching TV. Gilligan's Island at good times.
Well, you're losing me with the TV selection, but the summer of ice cream, I am into that.
That's back when we had 3 channels and UHF.
Oh, I know. I remember. We had 4, and it was terrible, and I played outside.
Yeah. Well, we played it. Oh, man. We rode bikes a lot back in the day.
Hell yeah, you did. You were a kid when I was a kid.
Yeah.
You know what?
Oh yeah, ice cream trucks are great.
It's May.
Yeah.
1.5 months until Stranger Things.
What, the comic book? I know. I can't wait.
No, the 4th. Did you hear about the D&D module? I told you about that last week.
No, really?
There's a D&D module for
What do you mean?
Well, I don't know. D&D released a Stranger Things module or box set.
Oh, that's cute.
And it's got I think it comes with a mini. I think it's a box set, and I believe it comes with the Demogorgon mini.
Yeah.
I think so.
That's cool.
It is cool, but I'm very excited. You said riding bikes, dude, and it's like those kids were kids when we were kids.
Yeah, exactly. But no kid had Evil Dead 2 posters or anything like that.
No, the posters that were widely available at like Walmart's or Spencer's Gifts were, Well, I don't know. I'm sure they were there, but I had Christina Applegate.
Christina Applegate, really?
You don't think she's beautiful?
Yeah, sure.
Oh man, yeah, no, she was my like preteen crush, big time.
Well, I'm slightly older. I was more Heather Locklear, I think was
I think my slight advantage there is to my benefit.
Yeah. Yeah, but I grew up in the Brooksfield days. Stuff like that.
Oh man, I don't remember the older sister from Al.
Elvira.
Hold on, we're looking that up.
The older sister?
Yeah, when I found out that dude made $5,000 a week writing that show, I about flipped.
From what, that permanent
Jerry Stahl? Yeah.
Is that what it is?
Permanent Midnight?
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
What was that, Ben Stiller?
He played Jerry Stahl in the movie, yeah.
Yeah. And they couldn't use Alf. They didn't want to let people know that like some coked out crazy guy was writing Alf.
I think it was heroin, man.
Oh, well, whatever. Heroin, coke.
Yeah, what's the difference, right?
Oh, I don't know, but it wasn't the husband on Alf, if I'm not mistaken.
Dear goodness.
He was caught by the Inquirer, and I think he was prostituting himself for like meth.
Wait, who?
The father on Alf.
Really?
Yeah, you guys can check it out. You'll know that I'm right.
Prostituting himself for meth.
Something like that, yeah.
And the writer's getting paid $5,000 a week.
Well, dude, probably like after Alf, was over.
Oh, this was afterwards. Good.
Yeah.
I was gonna say, dude, there's
I
no
don't know if
way.
they were at the same time.
He was doing it for pleasure. It wasn't because he needed money for coke or meth.
Right.
But if it was after the show, that makes a little more
Well,
sense.
I mean, maybe I got it wrong. They're like, it sounds like an urban legend, but that's right. Let's keep it that way. We don't need to find out if I'm right on the internet or
Hey, hold
wrong.
on. Fantinuum. Can you see? Hold on. Is
keep
that
it
her? Oh, so hold on. Stop talking. I want to got to get this to focus. Is that her, Fantinuum? Do you recognize that face? It won't focus. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's from Married with Children.
No, that's Christina Applegate. He said
the mother or the neighbor.
No, it's from Alf, the older sister from Alf.
Oh yeah, that I remember.
Oh, she had anorexia.
She had anorexia.
Didn't they all?
Yes, they all.
If you want to be a teen starlet in Hollywood or New York, don't you kind of have? Well, you did at the time. I don't know about anymore, but you certainly had to be a particular, very particular,
a normal-looking girl at the time. I mean, she didn't. I don't know. Whatever. Never. Yeah, Alf sucked.
Dude, I'm sorry, but if you grew up and you were a model, you didn't look like a normal person.
I mean, let's be honest. Alf sucked. Anybody that liked Alf is like ridiculous. They just like going, oh, and that's it. That's the only reason to say you like Alf. You go, oh.
He ate cats, man. I couldn't ever get behind that.
Dude, Justine Bateman is the worst actress.
No, hold on. The worst actress is actually that young woman from the Umbrella Academy.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't like her?
I know.
I don't know what her name is, but yeah.
Ellen Page.
Ellen Page.
Terrible.
Yeah, but Justine Bateman was really like devoid of. She always sounded like she didn't even understand her lines speaking, and she was in a sitcom.
Yeah, no, I give you that. She's pretty terrible, but Ellen Page is
was really bad. Her one time, her shining acting appearance was when she was in that Arrested Development opposite her brother, and that was really good. You remember that? I'm
sorry, I was reading chat.
She's the prostitute that Michael gives control of the company to, like one afternoon, and she like fixes everything.
Yeah,
and she's like also giving sexual favors to people.
That show was the funniest thing I have seen on TV in decades.
That was a great show.
However,
like right up there with like Taxi and stuff like that.
Just the first 2.5 seasons, though. Anything after that can just not be made.
You don't like the Mr. F stuff?
Was that in season? That was in the first 2.5 seasons.
Oh, okay. I see what you're saying. You mean before they went to Netflix?
Before they got canceled, yes.
Yeah.
Like they ended on top. I don't care what anybody says. That show was at the pinnacle of its power when they got canceled.
Yeah.
Even Tobias Funke, who I also do not like. And let's be clear, I do not hate Ellen Page. I just don't think she's a good actress. And Juno was okay, but like it's kind of a one-trick pony for that woman. Juno was all right, but it was well written also, which
You don't like it? You don't like it?
Check out this movie called Hard Candy. I think you'll reassess your opinion.
Wait, about whom?
Ellen Page.
What,
Hard Candy?
I think you'll like it. I think you'll like
Hard Candy, everybody.
Yeah.
Why?
Tell
me more.
I shouldn't. It's a very spoilerific.
Hard Candy. All right. I don't like to watch movies though, Eugene.
3 people. All right. Hard Candy. Hopefully it's on one of those streaming services I have.
Yeah, no kidding, right? Because if it's not, it's lost to society forever.
Untrue, actually. You just have to be willing to pay like $2.99 on YouTube, and almost every movie is on there.
Or you can just wait for like 90 years and it'll be in the public domain.
Yeah. But I can't watch some old ass movie when there's a remake of it.
By that point, there would be a remake of the remake for sure. You know, probably more often than that.
Yeah. So, Hollywood is a lot like Marvel restarting series and stuff like that. There's like, they can't think past like, restarting and, they just have to reimagine something that happened beforehand. So boring. So boring.
All right, I'm looking at the hard candy crime thriller, 1 hour and 44 minutes. That's not putting me off so far. The 7.1 on IMDb and the 67% Rotten Tomatoes seems all right. All right, I'll tell you what, Eugene, I'll try.
He's gonna try, everybody. Yay, Lowell.
I don't like to try.
He likes
Got to say something.
Cyclops minus both eyes equals no clops. So there was this comic I loved when in my 20s, so 1990s, called Fat Dog Mendoza. And anybody that's ever read that knows what I think is funny. Anyway, there was this superhero that they created called Earclops, and he threw these like balls of wax out of his ear. Pretty hilarious. Earclops, everybody.
So when I was a kid, I don't remember why or what. I don't know what was going on or what I was doing. I was sitting on my bed, cross-legged, and this thing, I like felt something pop, hit me in the ear, and I looked down. I was like, "What the hell is that?" And it's about yay big. I don't know, something like that. And it was like brown and weirdly shaped. And so I grabbed it and I picked it up and I looked at it, and it was a big old thing of earwax that had fallen out of my ear. It was massive. And like, these things. It happens to people.
Leading up to that, were you having problems hearing?
No, none whatsoever. I didn't realize there was a problem. And all of a sudden, this big old thing of wax fell out of my ear.
Well, I guess there was no problem.
It was nuts, dude. That was huge. So one of the guys I was working with in Colorado, he was up a wind turbine and a moth flew into his ear canal. And then, you do this to try to get it out, and it drove it further into his ear. And because it was a moth, and that's what they do, it crawled all the way in beyond where you could see it anymore. And he said it was extraordinarily painful, and nobody believed him that happened. And nobody believed him because they couldn't see it. They're like, "There's no way a moth went in your ear," and he's just like, "Ah." So they had to take him. They had to let it die. I forget. They put something down his ear that killed it, and then they had to let it die, and then they could go in there and retrieve it because it was resisting any attempt to pick it out. So they had to kill it in his ear and then cut it up and pull it out. Awesome. Ugh. Talking about debilitating, what a weird way to get taken out. Oh, a moth flew in his ear and he died. Yeah. That could be your superpower, Yule.
We can't figure out my superpower now, can we?
I don't.
Just that neon sign thing, really.
Such a ridiculous superpower.
Well, I would
charge batteries without touching them.
I figured I would use that power to make neon signs. So, this was the idea. Every Chinese restaurant, in LA, I could sell my mutant powers off to make 99-cent signs and stuff like that. $1.99.
99. No, what you do is you undercut the competition by just a few pennies, because people are stupid and they'll go for it, and then it'll drive all of your competition out of business. Then you raise your price to Martin Shkreli rates and you rack in the real dough, not this 99-cent bullshit. What does the matter with you?
Well, that's the price.
How's your comic book store doing?
That's I wasn't selling my services out for 99 cents. I was making $1.99 neon signs, is what I'm saying.
Oh, my bad.
For Chinese food, at the really bad places.
Really? A neon sign for $1.99?
No. Chinese food for $1.99.
No, I get it. I get it.
You're a frustrating person. You know that?
Sometimes.
Very frustrating. And it doesn't have to be Chinese. It could be at a Hofbrau also. Look, it's a roast beef sign in neon. I made it with my mutant power. Now pay me.
Yeah. That's pretty cool, man. That's pretty cool. Just think of the fun you could have in the sex industry.
Yep.
There
you go.
Yep. Well, did you watch that Ricky Gervais show?
No, I don't. Uncomfortable humor is not really something I'm into.
I don't think it was that uncomfortable. It wasn't like The Office.
Oh, well, I just assume everything he does is going to be like that.
It is a little bit uncomfortable, but it's not.
You see the one with the small guy? What's his name?
Huh?
It was the guy who played an Ewok.
Yeah,
Warwick Davis.
Okay.
There's a Warwick Davis program that Ricky Gervais is involved in. And it's all about Warwick Davis trying to be like a Hollywood or, sell his acting wares, basically. And it's like one horrible situation after another. And it's always like really uncomfortable. It's well done, but 10 minutes of that's all I really need.
How did you feel about, what was that? Who was the guy that wrote Seinfeld?
Larry David. Yeah. So I don't like that one as much either.
What is that one called?
Curb Your Enthusiasm.
The first 2 episodes of that show made me laugh until I cried. And then the 3rd episode bored me to tears.
Right. I like Larry David. That's kind of, or not Larry David, Gary Shandling. Ugh. I like Gary Shandling. That was a good program. Sometimes that was uncomfortable, but overall it was easier to handle than Curb.
Okay. I wondered if it was just me because I knew people that really liked that show, but I'm not a huge fan of the British Office is a little too uncomfortable for me.
Yeah, well, it's British, right?
Well, no, that doesn't mean anything. British, I grew up on BBC stuff. I love it.
I see Meet the Parents in the chat. That is definitely not my type of movie. Yeah, Arrested Development
is better, definitely.
Sometimes Arrested Development, when it's like Michael's stories, holy cow. Those, he's such a sap. And he's so, the show is all about him not being selfish and at the same time being the most selfish person in the family. How when you have a brother like Job and a mother like Lucille, how are you more selfish? But he ends up being that way all the time. And those are very uncomfortable, episodes.
No, you're right. They can be. He's my least favorite person, but you need him in that show because nothing works without that guy.
Right.
Dude, I'm sorry, but that Mr. F episode, I think it was the Mr. F episode or one of them with the Tokyo skyline.
Yes.
It was worth watching a whole season just to get to that point. So pleased with that. Laughed so much, so long, so hard. Oh God, it was great. I remember lived in a big warehouse. One of the people that lived right next door to me was this girl named Alex. And I remember I think it was Sunday night, she would be laughing hysterically watching that show before I watched it. Yeah, she was right. Funny. Well, Yule, it is 10:50.
9:50 here.
We've been going for almost 2 hours, but this particular video will be a little shorter, I think.
Yeah.
And who knows? Maybe it won't even. It should probably work. Yeah, I think it was better with the low latency, don't you?
You have to ask people in chat. I didn't see any screw ups though.
I didn't either. So I think it's the ultra low latency. You just got to remember to do it every time. Anyway,
right.
Why don't we wind it down? From me personally, thank you guys for showing up. And I'll see you next week. Yule?
I'll see you all next week also.
Awesome. Thank you for joining us, guys. We really appreciate it. And yeah, take care.